The fluorescent lights of the convenience store buzzed overhead as Denise Thompson reached for a gallon of milk. 2:47 in the morning. She was still wearing her classroom clothes, navy cardigan, cream blouse, sensible flats. She'd stayed late grading papers, and now she was picking up groceries before heading home to Marcus and their 8-year-old daughter, Aaliyah. The store was nearly empty, just her, a tired clerk, and a young man near the chips who kept glancing at his phone. Denise grabbed the milk, added bread, and was reaching for cereal when she heard the clerk's frightened voice. "Please, just take it." She turned. The young man was gone. The clerk's hands were raised, trembling. Then came the sirens. Everything happened too fast. Police bursting in, guns drawn, the clerk pointing at her. "That's her!" Denise's confusion turned to horror as cold handcuffs closed around her wrists. Armed robbery, aggravated assault. She kept saying she'd just come to buy milk, but no one was listening. "Stay with me until the end, and you see why there's a ways a light at the end of every tunnel." At the station they told her what she was accused of. She'd supposedly threatened the clerk with a gun, demanded money, struck him when he hesitated. Denise stared in disbelief. "I'm a teacher. I don't own a gun. Search my car, my purse. You won't find anything." They searched, found nothing. No weapon, no stolen money. Just a tired 43-year-old woman with a spotless record. It didn't matter. The clerk had identified her. The grainy security footage showed a black woman in dark clothing. The prosecutor called it open and shut. Her court-appointed attorney met with her twice, less than 20 minutes each time. He said the lack of evidence would work in her favor. He was wrong. The trial lasted 3 days. The prosecutor painted her as desperate, unemployed husband, mounting bills, a woman who'd snapped. Marcus testified they were managing fine, that Denise would never do this. His words were dismissed as loyalty. The clerk testified with conviction, described the gun, the violence. He had a bruise to prove it. The defense had no weapon to dispute, no witnesses except Denise herself. Her word wasn't enough. The jury deliberated 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. 18 years. When the judge spoke those words, Denise felt her life shatter. Aaliyah would be 26 when she got out. Her students would grow up without her. Everything she'd built was gone. The Virginia Women's Correctional Facility smelled like industrial cleaner and despair. Denise was processed, strip-searched, given an ill-fitting uniform, and assigned to a cell with a woman who had dead eyes from 7 years inside. The first week broke her. Every night she lay on the thin mattress, replaying that night, the fluorescent lights, the gallon of milk. How had this happened? Marcus visited every Saturday at first, bringing Aaliyah, but the visits destroyed the child. She'd cry, press her hands against the plexiglass, ask when Mommy was coming home. After 3 visits, Marcus came alone. "It's too much for her. She doesn't understand." "Tell her I didn't do anything wrong," Denise said through tears. But as weeks turned to months, even Marcus's visits became strained. He'd moved them into his mother's house. Bills were piling up. Aaliyah was struggling in school. "I don't know how much longer I can do this," he said in month 4. "I'm drowning." By month 6, his visits were bi-weekly. By month 8, once a month. He looked more defeated each time. In month 9, he came with divorce papers. "I can't," was all he said. "I'm sorry." She signed with shaking hands, watching her married name become nothing. If you're still here, thank you. Subscribe if you'd like to help us share more stories like this, stories about injustice, survival, and the power of truth. Aaliyah stopped coming. Marcus said she was confused, angry, starting to believe maybe the jury was right. Children believe the system works, believe people in jail belong there. Denise wanted to hold her daughter and explain the world was more broken than an 8-year-old could understand. But all she could do was stare at Aaliyah's school photo, that gap-toothed smile, still believing Mommy was a hero. Prison was hell. Denise kept her head down, followed every rule, but trouble found her. A fight over territory left her with bruised ribs and 2 weeks in solitary. There was the guard who made comments about uppity teachers, the suffocating routine, the violence simmering beneath the surface. By month 11, Denise had stopped hoping. Hope made the days longer, the nights unbearable. She became numb, a ghost moving through motions. The call came on a Tuesday morning in December. "Thompson, phone call, your lawyer." Denise's heart didn't even speed up. Her lawyer called sometimes with more bad news. She picked up, expecting nothing. "Ms. Thompson, something's happened." A new witness had come forward. Patricia Daniels had been in the store that night, hiding in the bathroom during the robbery. She'd assumed police had the right person and left without saying anything, but Patricia had seen the trial coverage, seen Denise's photo, and she knew with absolute certainty that Denise wasn't the robber. The actual criminal had been younger, shorter, with braided hair. Patricia had glimpsed her running past, heard her higher-pitched voice, nothing like the composed teacher on the news. Patricia's conscience had won. She'd given a statement, agreed to testify. "They're reopening your case," the lawyer said. "This could change everything. Denise, hold on just a little longer." She hung up and felt nothing. Not hope. Just a distant acknowledgement that maybe this nightmare might end. But she'd been disappointed too many times. "Might be getting a new trial," she told her cellmate flatly. Over the next 3 weeks, something shifted. Not hope exactly, but a tiny ember she'd thought was dead. She let herself think about Aaliyah again, about her classroom, about what it would be like to walk out of this place. "If you're still with us, we have a mission, and that is achieving 1,000 subscribers by the year's end. Your help is fundamental. Thank you. Now, let's continue." The retrial was fast. The prosecutor tried to discredit Patricia, but she was solid, described exactly what she'd seen and heard, explained her guilt at not coming forward sooner. The clerk was recalled. Under cross-examination, his certainty wavered. Could he be absolutely sure? In the terror of the moment, could he have been mistaken? He admitted it was dark. He'd been terrified. The woman wore a hood. The security footage was reanalyzed. An expert testified the woman in the video was 5'4" to 5'7". Denise was 5'8". The build was different, too. The prosecutor called them minor discrepancies. The defense called it reasonable doubt. The jury deliberated 3 hours. The forewoman stood. "On all charges, we find the defendant not guilty." The courtroom erupted. Denise couldn't move. Not guilty. After 11 months of hell, she was free. The judge spoke over the noise. "Ms. Thompson, you are free to go. On behalf of the court, I extend our deepest apologies for this miscarriage of justice." Apologies. As if that word could give back 11 months. As if it could undo the divorce, the lost time, the nightmares. But she was free. That was everything. The prison gates opened. Denise walked into December sunlight that felt strange on her skin. She carried a plastic bag with her belongings, wearing civilian clothes that felt foreign. She looked around, half expecting no one. But there, parked by the curb, was Marcus's old Corolla, and standing beside it were Marcus and Aaliyah. Aaliyah saw her first, stared as if she couldn't believe it was real. Then she ran. Faster than Denise had ever seen her run, arms outstretched, crying, "Mommy!" Denise dropped the bag and caught her daughter, falling to her knees on cold pavement, holding Aaliyah so tight. The child sobbed, I'm sorry, I doubted you." "Shh, baby," Denise whispered through tears. "You're a kid. You didn't understand. It's okay. We're okay." Marcus approached slowly, eyes red. "Denise, I'm so sorry for everything, for giving up, for the divorce. I'm so sorry." She wanted to be angry. But standing there with Aaliyah in her arms and Marcus looking at her like she'd returned from the dead, she found only exhaustion and relief. and fragile hope that maybe they could rebuild. "Let's just go home," she said quietly. "We'll figure out the rest later." They drove to Marcus's mother's house. Gloria had prepared a feast. The house was filled with people who'd believed in her innocence. They hugged her, cried with her, said they'd never stop praying. Aaliyah didn't leave Denise's side, held her hand through dinner, sat pressed against her on the couch. The child was terrified her mother would disappear again. It would take time to rebuild that trust. That night, Marcus paused in the guest room doorway. "I know I don't have the right to ask this, but would you consider trying again? Slowly. I never stopped loving you. I just stopped knowing how to carry the weight." Denise had changed. Prison had broken something but revealed her strength. She didn't need Marcus to be whole, but she wanted him. Despite everything, she still wanted this family. "Slowly," she agreed. "We'll take it slow." The media found her story within days. Local news, then state outlets, then national coverage. Virginia teacher wrongfully convicted after 11 months. Everyone wanted to hear about the broken system, the woman who survived. Denise gave interviews thoughtfully. She talked about that night, the trial, the prison. But mostly, she talked about reform, about how many others sat in cells right now, convicted on shaky evidence, trapped in a system that valued convictions over truth. Her story became a rallying cry. Advocacy groups invited her to speak. Law schools used her case as teaching material. Lawmakers cited her name when pushing for criminal justice reform. But at home, Denise focused on healing. She returned to teaching after 6 months. Her school board had kept her position open, never stopped paying her, believed in her innocence. Her students made welcome back cards. Parents hugged her. It felt like coming home. Marcus and Denise dated like they were 20 again. Dinner dates, long walks, talks about everything they'd lost and wanted to build. A year after her release, Marcus proposed, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, because they'd survived the worst and come out stronger. They remarried on a warm June day with Aaliyah as flower girl and Gloria crying in the front row. Small, intimate, perfect. Marcus's vows made her cry. He promised to never give up again, to carry the weight together, to believe in her always. Aaliyah thrived. Through therapy and patience and showing up every day, she and Denise rebuilt their bond. They had mother-daughter dates, inside jokes, the kind of connection that comes from surviving something terrible together. Aaliyah was proud now, told everyone about her mother who'd been wrongfully convicted and then fought to change the system. Denise never fully recovered. She had nightmares sometimes, panic attacks in crowds, deep distrust of authority. But she also had perspective. She knew how fragile freedom was, how quickly a life could be destroyed. She used that knowledge, lobbied for eyewitness identification reform, pushed for better public defender funding, testified before legislative committees, became the face of wrongful conviction advocacy in Virginia, then nationally. People asked if she was angry. "Anger is easy," she'd say, "but anger won't fix the system. Action will. Making sure this doesn't happen to the next Denise Thompson. That's what matters." 3 years after her release, Denise testified in support of the Virginia Wrongful Conviction Compensation Act. When she finished, the committee chair thanked her. "Your courage is remarkable. This legislation will help ensure what happened to you becomes harder to repeat." The bill passed. Denise stood beside the governor as he signed it into law. She thought about the woman she'd been that night in the convenience store, a tired teacher reaching for milk. A woman who'd thought she understood how the world worked. Denise Thompson is 46 now. She teaches 5th grade, mentors formerly incarcerated women, speaks at universities about criminal justice reform. She and Marcus just celebrated their 3rd wedding anniversary. Aaliyah is 11, thriving, talking about becoming a lawyer someday. The conviction was expunged, but Denise never forgets. Those 11 months shaped her in terrible and transformative ways. taught her that innocence isn't always enough, that the system doesn't always work, that good people can be destroyed by failures they didn't cause. But they also taught her that resilience is real, that love can survive unimaginable strain. That family can be rebuilt from ruins. That one voice speaking truth can change laws and lives. On December mornings, driving past convenience stores, Denise sometimes feels the ghost of that night. The fluorescent lights, the frightened clerk, the handcuffs. But then she thinks about Aaliyah laughing at breakfast, Marcus's hand in hers, the students who believe she hung the moon, the laws that bear her name. They could take her freedom. They could take 11 months. But they couldn't take who she was, a teacher, a mother, a fighter, a woman who survived the impossible and used that survival to build something better. That's the truth about Denise Thompson. Not the conviction, not the victim, but the warrior who turned injustice into action, pain into purpose, and 11 stolen months into a lifetime of fighting for others. And that, more than any apology or compensation, is justice. Thank you for watching Denise's incredible story. If this moved you, please do 3 things. First, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're working to reach 1,000 subscribers by year end. Every subscription matters and helps us share important stories. Second, comment below telling us what city you're watching from. We love knowing these stories reach people worldwide. And third, leave your opinion. What part of Denise's story was the most inspiring? How can the system be fixed? Your feedback is vital for our channel's evolution. We read every comment,